Hi, I'm Jake Ackerman, your VP of Specialized Activities.
Hi, I'm Kim Vo. I'm your state president.
And I'm Maddy, your vice president of membership outreach.
So today we're going to be doing a little Q&A of BPA and like what we want to know more about BPA in our local chapter. So we're going to be starting off with our first question. How long have you guys been part of BPA?
So I started my sophomore year. The first thing I went to was my Region 4 Fall Leadership Conference, so that was around October of 2017.
I also started my sophomore year, so 3 years in BPA so far.
And I also started my sophomore year.
How has BPA impacted your life?
I met my best friends through BPA. Also, the opportunities that you get from BPA, like you just have to take it and then keep going with it, and that's what I did, and it really made my high school experience so great.
For me, it really gave me a lot more confidence that I had going into high school. It gave me a lot of presentational and conversational networking skills, those kinds of things. Especially running for state office was probably one of the biggest challenges I ever had to do. But my biggest takeaway from my high school experience is my newfound passion for the environment and conservation. All 3 years I've done events where environment and sustainability has been part of the prompt for my presentations, and that's really given me the opportunity to pursue and learn a lot more about a field that I didn't know as much about when I started off in 10th grade, and that's been really awesome.
Yeah, and for me, BPA has given me a lot of friends. I've met a lot of people, not only from my chapter, but from other chapters too. And it's also really opened my eyes to different careers, because every year we either go to Seattle or New York and we talk to different business professionals from different industries, so kind of opening my eyes to different opportunities for when I'm older.
Do you guys look up to anybody?
Elon Musk, just because like everyone kind of hears his name and thinks he's crazy, but he's out making millions and gambling his millions away to make more millions. So I think it's inspirational. He kind of takes a leap of faith.
It's kind of amazing that this window of opportunity is open for life to go beyond Earth. And we just don't know how long that window is going to be open. The thing that gets me most fired up is that creating a self-sustaining civilization on Mars, it would be the greatest adventure ever in human history. It would be so exciting to wake up in the morning and think that that's what's happening.
Well, I guess for me, I don't really have any big famous inspirational people like that. For me, a lot more of my inspirations have been just different mentors I've had throughout my life. So whether that's piano teachers, BPA advisors, just adults that are out there working, that have life experience, that are able to just give me advice. But one of my biggest mentors inside BPA was actually Tim Maffey. He was a state officer last year, and when I attended my first Region 4 Fall Leadership Conference, he was the president, and then it was Kim, but I've looked up to Tim a lot throughout my entire BPA career because he always had really strong goals and a really clear path for his future, and that was something that was really inspiring for me, and I thought, well, if Tim can do it, so can I.
Just my mom. She's just great. She's my best friend. She helps me with everything. Okay, with state it's funny because I can't cut a straight line even if I draw it with a ruler. So then what she did for me, the part that she helped me with for my preparing for state was cutting straight lines.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's what my mom did.
The most Kimbo.
You do talk about your mom all the time.
Yeah, my mom is my best friend.
Why did you guys run for office?
I feel like I've answered this question a million times, and the same answer. I just felt like I wanted to do something bigger and make an actual impact outside of my own chapter, because I actually never ran for regions. I wanted to make a positive impact and feel like I was actually doing something for the organization.
Mine would be the same as Maddy's. I really wanted to see all the Minnesota members, because I've always been in the metro of Minnesota my entire life, and then being a state officer, you get to see everyone from other parts of the states, and then you get to meet people, and that's really what I was looking for.
For me too, the same thing. I mean, part of it too is that I wanted to challenge myself a little bit, and it definitely was challenging, but the best part has been being able to meet people. I mean, coming out to Osseo and having meetings like this is exactly why I wanted to be a state officer. I ran my whole campaign on creating connections, and I love being able to do that with members I haven't met before. driving up to Region 6, and I know you guys went to different parts of the state as well, but being able to work with the region president up there, Kendra, and just meet all the different members from northern Minnesota was a really cool experience that I wouldn't have got if I had just been a regular member this year. So that's why I ran for state office.
What are some tips would you give to local chapters to earn Torch Award?
All right, so first of all, I worked very hard on a presentation that is up on our website right now. Feel free to go and check it out. You can show it to your chapters. It has a lot of information on this. But with Torch, it's a lot easier than you think it is. All you have to do is go online, log into the portal, and you'll realize that if you're an active BPA member or just an active member of your school community, there's a lot of things you've probably been doing already, and you probably won't have to work all that much harder to get your Torch Award. And it's a really cool way to recognize our members for the awesome things they're doing, not only in BPA, but also outside of BPA and in their communities.
So what your chapter could do personally is just have a meeting showing how easy it is. Just have a demonstration. It's very easy. It's like a form, and you just make like 1 or 2 sentences, and you just submit it, and that's it.
Honestly, like some of the awards like easy to get on there, like some Torch points. But for not some of the harder ones, but some of them are actually like really fun. So I would suggest grabbing like a buddy and going to like a school board meeting or like a patriotic event in the community. Like they're not like awful to go to, and if you take someone with you, it's fun.
And there's a lot more than you think there are if you actually go and check it out.
What's your best memory from your time in BPA?
So this is kind of my go-to story whenever people ask me about how my experience in BPA has been. But last year, me and my global marketing team, we created a nonprofit organization that was focused on ocean conservation. And we went all the way to the National Leadership Conference, and in the finals, so our second presentation at Nationals, the judge asked us what came next, like what was our plan after doing all of this work to create this marketing plan for this organization. And one of my team members said we actually do it.
Take one.
Work, start, and make a change in the environment and start my own nonprofit organization. So that was really cool.
My best memory would be running for region office. I wasn't confident going into like running for region office. That was my first time running for anything, and when I got to talk to people, give my speech, make my campaign.
For me, my chapter does a lot of travel, and I've been fortunate enough to go to the East and West Coast with my chapter. So my favorite memory is sprinting through Times Square with my chapter. We went to like 4 Broadway plays, and that was really fun. And then this year in Seattle, it was fun just going to like the Space Needle, the Gum Wall, and going all these places with people I met through BPA.
The Gum Wall smells disgusting.
No, when we went there, because I went to Seattle like 2 months before like my chapter went, and when we went there, it was like filled with gum. And then when our chapter went, like they scraped it all off.
They scraped
There was
it?
like nothing.
I
in
thought
there.
they just leave it to build up.
No, that's how you get like coronavirus. Like, that's how like stuff.
No, I literally thought it was just a collection over time. I did not know they scraped it
Imagine
off.
how much gum that would be.
Yeah, that'd be so gross.
Okay, someone okay.
We should do a gum wall at state.
Ew.
Oh no, try it.
Could you guys explain like more of like events you guys are in right now and like good ways to prepare for state leadership conference?
I'm in presentation management team, integrated office applications, and then I did a virtual this year. I did startup enterprise team. So for our presentation, now like presentation management is a lot about like how we present. So I would suggest, I always recommend like doing it in front of a mirror, because like I know I do little things when I present, like I'll move my eyes funny, or like I use my hands a lot. And so like just knowing like what I do, and definitely like communicating with your team like what you want from each other, like making sure you guys aren't saying the same things. And then for my individual, it's like a 90-minute computerized test, so I don't really prepare for it, but I brush up on my Excel skills beforehand. And then for my virtual, I show up.
Over the last 3 years, I've done mainly the same events. I did presentation management for 2 years, individual, parliamentary procedures, team, and those are my 2 events, my 2 main events. This year, I switched it up. I did interview skills and global marketing team. But how I prepare for my team is that you have to schedule your meetings and make sure everyone knows, like show up, put in the work, and it should be equal work. That is the big thing, because if it's not equal work, like one person feels bad, another, like it's just unbalanced, and that is not great. So individual, that is yourself, like you are the one that you're putting the work in, and that will pay off if you are preparing well. So over the last few years, I've prepared extremely hard, and sometimes I don't get the results that I want, but you just have to be happy of the process that you have done. Yeah.
And for me, I'm also in global marketing, and one thing that's really important for me is just actually going out and looking at examples. And that doesn't just apply to marketing plans, but if you're doing an event, go out and look at real world professional business examples of what you might be doing, and make sure you're checking off those criteria. Make sure that you're looking at relevant information. It's 2020 now, so there's a lot of different ways to market, there's a lot of different ways to advertise, and you want to make sure that when you are presenting to judges that you're showing something that's relevant and up to date. And that's something that's really important when it comes to especially judged events. And with individuals, for me, I do fundamentals of web design. For all 3 years I've been in BPA, and a really big thing is to have a reference book. When I went from Regents to State, I didn't realize that that was something that's allowed. So definitely check if your event allows you to have a reference book when you're taking your test, and if it does, make sure you know how to use the index and everything. Do some practice tests beforehand if your chapter has access to tests from previous years. And yeah, I really like what Kim said too. Just whatever you wind up placing at the State Leadership Conference, be excited about the experience you had and the things you learned competing in your event, regardless of whether or not you move on to the National Leadership Conference, because BPA is really about developing those skills, not just about the fun trips you can take. So be proud of yourself no matter how you perform.
What does it take to become a BPA officer?
There's no specific criteria. It's you. Like, what you need to do, you need to come up with a campaign idea, and then be prepared to meet a lot of people, to present your ideas, to talk to them. You don't have to make it to nationals. You don't have to make it to state. Like, you don't have to be accomplished necessarily, but it's how passionate are you in BPA? That's what it is.
And as far as the actual process, before you actually go to like FLC to campaign, you have to fill out like a bunch of different like paperwork, like I don't even know what kind of paperwork we have to do. We have to sign a bunch of stuff like release forms, just like kind of get like background knowledge to send in. And then they'll say, yeah, like you're eligible to run. So then you'll come to FLC, and at FLC you'll take a test, you'll conduct an interview, you'll have a campaign rally, you'll give a speech, and then you'll do region caucusing. And it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot to do in one day because it's all within one night. But it's actually really fun. Like, it sounds really intimidating. My favorite part was the caucusing, because you could just talk to like 10 people from each region, and some were like silly questions like, what's your, like, if you were a potato, what are you? Or like, what's your spirit animal?
Yeah.
And then some were like aimed towards like, what are your goals? Like, why are you doing this? So it's kind of like a longer process, but it's really fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's
It
fun.
really is.
I recommend it.
One thing I would keep in mind, state is 2 weeks away, and you're always campaigning. If you want to run next year,
Think about it.
yeah, and make sure that you're taking the time to get to meet members from other regions, members that are going to be voting for you next year if you are one of the officers. And your advisors are going to have to write you letters of recommendation, so make sure that you are putting on your best self and really showing your dedication and commitment to BPA, because all of that goes a long way. It's not just what you do next October, it's what you do leading up to it. And I would really recommend looking into all the different parts of the application over the summer. That's one of the things that I did, because like Maddy said, there's a lot of different things you're gonna have to fill out, and it's a long process, but it's definitely worth it. But remember, you're always campaigning, so always have your best BPA face on.
Yeah, I want to add something too. Your social media, clean. Like Instagram, Snapchat, don't post anything, even if snaps go away, because people see that it's a public image of yourself. You have to be careful of what you post, and like Jake said, you're starting now. You have to be present in BPA, be active. So yeah, put on a good face.
Yeah, you don't want to be that kid at like this SLC, like seen on the story jumping from the balcony. Be like, run for me, like next year, vote for me.
That'd be funny though.
Don't start campaigning too early. That there is a time limit. Make sure you know when you can start campaigning. I don't know exactly when it is on social media, but you can't start campaigning right now, so don't get too excited.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there any way you could give us like a little sneak peek of this year in the state leadership conference, or
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know. We can. What can we?
It is really cool. Like, we didn't do it last year.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just.
No, you don't describe it too much. Just
Okay.
yeah.
So the game night will be very different. It's going to be exciting. Like the social on Friday night, that's going to be very fun, and I think more chapters are going to interact with each other through what we have come up with, but it's something to look forward to, really.
We're very excited about it for sure.
Yeah.
Hope you guys found this video informational, and make sure you guys check out Minnesota BPA and their Instagram account. Get ready for state leadership Minnesota, 2 weeks. See you guys later. Bye.